Welcome to the Episode 3 summary of the Ulysses Unlocked podcast, where we analyze Ulysses by James Joyce one page at a time. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment to support us. And hey, for a way more detailed analysis, you've got to check out the Ulysses Unlocked podcast, where we really get into the weeds. Today, we're taking on what might be the Mount Everest of literature, James Joyce's Ulysses. But don't worry, we're not climbing the whole thing. Instead, we're going to unlock its genius by decoding just one single incredible page.
Okay, let's just dive right in. On the surface, this looks like a random jumble of thoughts, right? You've got a weird compliment, a super creepy memory about a ghost, and then a line about not wearing gray pants. But what if I told you that each one of these is actually a secret key? A key that unlocks a hidden world of psychology, myth, and meaning.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. We're going to look at 4 key phrases: the loveliest mummer, a scent of guilt, the man in black, and finally, what's in a name. Each one peels back another layer of what Joyce is doing.
All right, first up, the loveliest mummer. This whole thing starts with a really bizarre compliment that our main character, Stephen Dedalus, gets from his roommate, the cocky and sarcastic Buck Mulligan.
So Mulligan calls Stephen a mummer. Now, if you know anything about Stephen, this makes absolutely zero sense. This guy is the definition of serious. He's a brooding, intellectual artist type. So you got to ask yourself, what in the world is a mummer? So a mummer is basically an actor in these old school street plays. And the plot was usually the same. A hero gets killed, and then, surprise, he's brought back to life. Death and resurrection. Now, how does that connect to our super serious hero, Stephen? Well, this is where it starts to get really, really cool.
Joyce is playing 4D chess here, people. This one little word is an incredible piece of foreshadowing. See, way later in the book, a totally drunk Stephen actually does perform a kind of wild, comic act. And what happens at the end of it? He gets knocked out cold by a soldier, that's his symbolic death, and then he's helped back to his feet, the resurrection. It's the entire mummer's play, acted out by a character who was called a mummer on the very first page. Just amazing.
Okay, so let's zoom in from that huge piece of character foreshadowing, like way in, down to Joyce's obsession with single words. And there's no better example than this really haunting memory Stephen has of his dead mother.
So check this out. This is the sentence Joyce first jotted down in a notebook, years before he even published the book. It's already a pretty powerful image, right? But just watch what he does with it.
And here's the final version. Did you catch it? The changes seem tiny. Gave out becomes giving off. Okay, a little more active. But then he adds one word. Just one. Reproachful. And that one word changes everything. It's no longer just a sad memory. Now it's an accusation. It's the source of this guilt that's just eating Stephen alive.
You see, for Joyce, it wasn't just about picking the right words. It was about the rhythm, the music of the sentence, the exact placement and feeling of every syllable. And this phrase, it's not a one-off. It becomes this ghost that follows Stephen all through the novel, a constant drumbeat of his guilt.
All right, so this theme of guilt and memory, it actually becomes visible. You can see it in something as simple as his pants.
So Mulligan offers him these hand-me-down great trousers, and Stephen's reaction is just this flat refusal. It sounds kind of snobby, maybe a little rude, but this has nothing to do with fashion. It's all about a very specific, kind of old-fashioned social rule.
Okay, get this. There was this Victorian mourning rule that a son had to wear all black for a year and a day after his mother died. And Stephen's mother died on June 26, 1903. The novel is set on June 16, 1904. He is literally 10 days away from fulfilling this obligation. He is taking this rule to the absolute extreme, basically wearing his grief. And this is where Joyce just blows your mind. Who does this remind you of? The gloomy intellectual in black, obsessed with his dead parent, feeling totally out of step with the world? Yep, he's a modern-day Hamlet. It's a direct parallel, the alienated artist, defined by his sorrow.
So for our final piece of the puzzle, let's turn the tables and look at the guy giving Stephen a hard time about his clothes, Buck Mulligan. Because his full name, Malachi Mulligan, is a masterpiece of hidden meanings.
And Mulligan himself, in his typical show-off way, actually gives us the first clue. He points out the rhythm of his own name, calling it 2 dactyls. So what on earth is a dactyl?
Think about the beat. Malachi Mulligan. It's that da-da-da rhythm. And that, my friends, is the meter of ancient Greek epics. You know, like Homer's Odyssey. Joyce is literally writing the sound of the classics into his characters' names. How wild is that?
Oh, but it gets so much deeper. It's not just the rhythm. The name Malachi belonged to an Irish high king. The biblical prophet Malachi literally means my messenger. And Mulligan even calls himself Mercurial Malachi, linking himself to Hermes, the messenger of the gods. It's all there. Poetry, history, religion, and myth, all packed into the name of this one fast-talking character.
So when you step back and look at all these pieces together, you really start to see Joyce's method. These aren't just clever little Easter eggs for academics. The mummer, the memory, the black clothes, the name, they all lock together. They build this incredibly dense, layered reality for these characters right from the very first page.
And that's really the big takeaway here. Joyce is doing more than just telling a story. He's teaching us how to read. He's showing us that in a masterpiece like this, nothing is an accident. Every single word is a potential doorway to a whole universe of meaning.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If this much is packed into just one page, what hidden layers are waiting in the books, movies, and songs that we already love? But here's the real question. How do these themes of guilt and prophecy play out between Stephen and Mulligan for the rest of the book? Does Stephen ever truly escape his grief? And is Mulligan friend or foe? We dig into all of that and more in the full Ulysses Unlocked podcast. Go check it out.